Now I would like to introduce chairpersons. First, I would like to introduce Dr. K. Shivaprasad. He has pursued his MBBS from Andhra Medical College, Vizag, and he has completed his MD from NIMHANS, Bangalore. He's currently working as professor and head of the department, Government Medical College, Nizamabad. He earlier worked as assistant and associate professor in Andhra Medical College, Vizag. He also worked as staff psychiatrist at South Wales Healthcare, Victoria, in Australia. He also worked as associate professor in Usmania Medical College, IMH, Institute of Mental Health. He has 4 original articles and 1 case report in Index Journal. Sir, we welcome you to the session, sir. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. V.K. Aravind. He's a senior consultant psychiatrist at Ram Psychiatry Hospital. He's been practicing over 2 decades. He is the co-chairperson of SARC International Affairs Committee, Indian Psychiatric Society. He is currently the chairperson of CME Committee, IPS South Zone. He was ex-convener, CME Committee, Indian Psychiatric Society during 2019 and 20. He was ex-convener, Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, Indian Psychiatric Society during 2016 to 2018. He has published more than 30 articles in different psychiatry journals. He was the associate editor of Indian Journal of Private Psychiatry during 2015 to 2017. He worked as an assistant editor of Indian Journal of Psychological Medicine, South Zone, during 2010 to 2013. He is a member of International Fellow American Psychiatry Association. So we welcome you to the session. Please welcome, sir.
Thank you much.
Now, without taking much time, I'll hand over the proceedings to the chairpersons. Please take over, sir. Yeah.
Let me start. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, the organizing team, for inviting me to chair the session on today's second topic of the day on naltrexone, one drug, many users. So, as we all know that naltrexone is one of the promising drugs which came into the market a decade back with a good efficacy of controlling the relapse of alcoholism, both as an anti-craving drug and also as a maintenance drug treatment for alcohol. And subsequently, the drug was studied in many substance abuse addiction disorders, not only alcoholism, but for methamphetamine use disorders, cocaine disorders, and many other substance abuse disorders. So today we have a very good speaker, Dr. G. Suresh Kumar, to give a lecture on this, on naltrexone, one drug, many users. So before I just hand over the mic to my co-chairperson, just let me briefly introduce about Dr. Suresh Kumar. He is a professor of psychiatry, associate professor of psychiatry from the Andhra Medical College, Visakhapatnam. He has completed his MBBS and MD from Andhra Medical College and also has an MBA from Andhra University. And he is also the Honorary General Secretary of IPS South Zone. Also was the past president of IPS Indian Psychiatric Society, Andhra Pradesh State Branch, and also he is the Honorary General Secretary of the Indian Psychiatric Society, Andhra Pradesh State, and he is a past vice president of Visakha Psychiatric Society, and his area of interest in de-addiction is rehabilitation. So let me just hand over the mic to my co-chairperson, Dr. Shivaprasad. Please, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to say a few words about this medication naltrexone. Actually, when I was studying MD, that was then at the time it was not available in India. So we used to send prescriptions to a private pharmacy, cash pharmacy in Bangalore, so that it was in the grey market. He was not giving the receipt, but only medication, and he used to take my money. That was 50 milligrams tablets. And at that time, 50 rupees was the price, which is, during those days, it was a bit exorbitant. But after that, it is made available in India after a few years later. And it has been approved by the FDA to use in the treatment of opiate dependence because it will reduce the craving. Later, it was also approved for alcohol craving, reducing the craving for alcohol. and those patients who are suffering from alcohol dependence syndrome and willing to come out of it. So, but I think it is, there are some studies in which this molecule, naltrexone, is useful in reducing the craving of other substances also, maybe like just not cocaine and cannabis. I'm not very clear about that. I mean, I have also read here and there, but off-label, some people are giving. But Dr. Suresh will enlighten us what is the evidence-based use of naltrexone in which condition, and supposed to be useful, though it is not approved in what other substance use disorders. So now I request Dr. G. Suresh Kumar.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank the CME committee for giving me the opportunity to talk today's topic. With the kind words, the key persons, with a brief introduction, I would like to talk on the chosen topic after the exhaustive presentation of Naveen. My presentation may be a little boring. Please bear with me. The topic is naltrexone, an upcoming promise for various addictions. The one drug and many uses. This topic has initially thought of what naltrexone. We will talk on the extensive 1 hour has given this time. I maybe do justice or not. I initially thought of, after going to the literature, it has many uses. It is a thoughtfully chosen topic and is given aptly need of the hour. It has. I would like to talk on this topic usually on the following lines: the introduction, the chemistry, the pharmacokinetics and dynamics, and the possible mechanism of action, the various indications in addition to protein FDA approved indications, various dosage formulation that are available, and adverse drug indications and the drug interactions. So, coming to the introduction of the naltrexone, the topic has it is synthesized by Bloomberg and Dayton, approved to be have many advantages over the other earlier opioid antagonists. It is a non-specific opioid antagonist. The naltrexone is a potentially effective and well tolerated the treatment in many patients with substance and other behavioral addictions. The data support a role in endogenous opioid across the addiction spectrum disorders. So naltrexone, the studies shows it is a pan-addiction treatment. The Springer International Publishing in Switzerland in 2016, they studied in the naltrexone. It is useful in the alcohol use disorders and the opioid disorders, nicotine disorders, and the stimulant disorders and gambling disorders and trichotillomania and kleptomania. It shows a consistent in favor of naltrexone because of its relative efficacy and the safety, given the potential benefit for good tolerability revealed in these studies. The high morbidity associated usually with the addictions, the depth of alternative treatments, the naltrexone chosen because of it is underutilized in the treatment options, but the naltrexone is now seemingly a broad anti-addiction efficacy. As to the chemistry of the naltrexone, it is by substituting the N-methyl group of the opioid agonist oxymorphone with methyl cyclopropyl moiety. It is available as white crystalline hydrochloride, a salt. It is very easily soluble in water at melting point as minus 275 degrees. It is slightly alkaline in preparation. The chemistry, the molecular formula has given above. Coming to the pharmacokinetics of this drug, it is relatively long half-life. It is orally effective. It is not associated with and compared to other drugs which causes dysphoria. It is easily available, administered as once a day administration. They found a suitable substance for preventing the relapse to opioid use in detoxified opioid addicts. The peak plasma concentrations achieved within 1 hour of the drug ingested. The oral bioavailability is 60%. Out of which this 20% is protein bound. It is primarily recovered in plasma and urine and feces. The half-life is 4 hours, but duration of the receptor blockade is much higher because of its metabolite 6-beta naltrexone it has a longer half-life, and it is metabolized primarily in the liver, excreted through kidney. And the extended release preparations of injected formulation is available in the dosage form of 380 milligrams once a month intramuscular injection. The following administration, this drug has the initial peak will come within 2 hours, but the second peak after 2 to 3 days, later steadily decreases after 14 days. The pharmacodynamics of this naltrexone, it is, and compared to other drugs available for opioid substitution therapy and other opioid antagonists, it has a minimal opioid agonistic effect. The relative opioid antagonistic potency. It is, when compared to other opioid antagonists, is 12 times that of nalorphine and 2.5 times of naloxone. The oral 100 milligrams of naltrexone is completely antagonize the subjective as well as the objective response of 25 milligrams of heroin when given. Coming to how these drugs basically it works. Primarily, it blocks the mu receptors. It prevents the exogenous opioids and prevents the resultant pleasure. And also, it modulates the opioid system. As a result, it diminishes the reinforcing properties of the substance ingested. Works primarily as a reward pathways and reward system. Decreases the craving and rewarding effects by blocking these effects. The primary mechanism of action, why it is called is a non-specific antagonist, because it antagonists effects on all the 3 receptors, mu receptors, kappa receptors, and delta receptors. The primarily is the effect on the mu receptors, and compared to it is the potency is 13 to 33 times more than the kappa, and 5 to 10 times more in the receptor of delta receptor. The primary mechanism when it's used in substance abuse or other substances, in addition to alcohol or other opioid substances, whenever the substance is used of addictive substances, it releases the endogenous opioids, particularly endorphin and enkephalins, and it stimulates the opioid receptors present in the various reward pathways, particularly systems like nucleus accumbens, the amygdala, cingulate gyri, the basal ganglia. These reward pathways is extensively located at the mu receptors. When the naltrexone is given, the mu receptors are blocked. So subsequent, the pleasure as a result, the high or intoxication and the craving or relapse decreases because of the blockade of the mu receptors. So these mu receptors, when given usually in the substance of abuse, it potentiates the GABA mechanism. Usually the GABA is inhibitory so that it stimulates the dopaminergic tracts in the ventral tegmental area, releases the dopamine, and the peak of pleasure experience will be result. But when the mu receptors are blocked, the GABA action is potentiated. As a result, the dopaminergic system releases in the nucleus accumbens is diminished, so that the pleasure in craving is reduced. The indications of, as Dr. Suprasad has told, that just the FDA approval for these indications are very minimal, particularly till the drugs is not available as freely available, because of the FDA is not approved until 1994. The oral naltrexone in the alcohol and opioid dependence. 2006, it is extended release, one month preparation or injectable suspension that are available for alcohol dependence, and extended release of naltrexone for opioid dependence. And recently, 2014, the naltrexone along with bupropion in the treatment of obesity as the only approved indications were given. But the one drug has many uses, as rightly mentioned in the topic. It has used in the various addictions, in the not only in the addictive disorders, various non-psychiatric indications in the as a augmentation or add-on drug for the various drugs, particularly in addition to the narcotic addictions or alcohol use disorders or cocaine disorders, pathological gambling, nicotine use disorders, self-injurious and eating disorders, and various other indications, particularly the various non-psychiatric indications like fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's syndrome, dermatological condition, chronic pain syndrome, irritable bowel syndrome. There are various other indications are there with the naltrexone. Particularly, majority of the drugs, psychiatrists are using very minimal usage of naltrexone when compared to immunologists, rheumatologists, gastroenterologists are they are prescribing very widely in this naltrexone. We'll coming to the later of those. See, coming to the opioid use in India, the 2.3 crores, the magnitude of the problem, the opioid users, and compared to the problem users are 77 lakhs and 28 is dependent users. Out of these, the opium and their other preparations that are available, whereas and the synthetic preparations are 25 lakhs. So ultimately, there is a total, or the problem users in India is very alarmingly very high, and compared to the top 10 states of and people who have need of the opioid related problems to address, these are Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, Delhi. They are very high usage of these things. Sorry. The lifetime prevalence of witnessed overdose among the drugs users in about 70%. About 45% of the drugs experiences the non-fatal overdose, but about 70% of witness the overdose, including the fatal, their lifetime. But if you try to understand the addiction, how they conceptualized in 3 stages. First, initially, the binge or intoxication phase. Once the drug has stopped having the experiencing withdrawal or negative effect, once it is trained after the stopping, again the patient goes to the preoccupation or anticipation of taking the substance. It worsens over time and involve the brain certain changes, the allostatic changes in the brain, reward pathways and stress systems. That what the neurobiological mechanisms, the structures that are and neurochemicals that are involved in the mechanism of addiction was depicted. Coming to the primarily, it is an opioid antagonist. The narcotic addiction, it is limited indications because it's opioid detox. This naltrexone particularly needs opioid detoxification is needed prior to the naltrexone induction. It has poor adherence compared to agonist therapies because it won't cause the pleasure. It does not have opioid agonist properties and do not obtain as the psychoactive reward. It can be used only after the completion of 7 to 10 day period of complete opioid abstinence after rapid detoxification procedure to avoid the precipitating the opioid withdrawal phase. This is the limitation, so that you should be very careful and judicious in the giving the naltrexone. In carefully selected patients who are motivated to take naltrexone and maintenance on naltrexone can be used as an alternative to maintenance treatment with opioid agonists such as methadone or the partial agonist like buprenorphine. So the blocks CNS and non-CNS for opioid receptor. I think it is slide has slightly distracted. It prevents the achievement of sought after the reinforcement from opioid use. The prevent physical dependence if prolonged opioid use is resumed, and reduced craving due to the lack of immediate opioid effects. So, and also it has the deconditioning the cure related effects. The tolerance does not occur the antagonistic properties even after the 1 year of the naltrexone. That is the major advantages here. The algorithm for the management of opioid dependence, as said, the opioid use disorders and the assessment with opioid intoxication, we have to detoxify the buprenorphine or methadone or clonidine. And the opioid dependence in the long-term pharmacotherapy, in the selection criteria may be with the agonist or antagonistic. With agonist as buprenorphine or methadone is used in the case naltrexone is used. For selecting the patient is very important in the naltrexone maintenance treatment. Particularly, we need younger patients, the smaller duration of opioid use, and employed the individual who has the professional, the facing of loss of employment and licenses and all. The strong motivation and good social support is needed. Before giving, you should confirm the opioid-free status by clinical examination or self-report or urine examination for the drugs. LFT primarily should be within normal range. Naloxone challenge test, if needed, the opioid has status is doubtful. Start naltrexone on the low dose with 25 milligrams initially. If no withdrawal symptoms, after 1 hour, give another 25 milligrams in the recommended dose of 50 milligrams. So it is available in the 50 milligrams and 150 milligrams in injectable forms. As maintenance dose of oral naltrexone, owing to the long duration of action, it can be administered as 100 mg every alternative day or 150 mg every third day. As earlier mentioned, it selectively competes with the exogenously ingested opioids for CNS and non-CNS opioid receptors and blocks their activity. It binds to receptor without any psychoactive effect. It involving the family members is primarily for supervising naltrexone administration is a good practice in long-term maintenance. Liver function should, as I mentioned, it should be the baseline liver function should be evaluated, and also in the course of therapy should be evaluated at regular intervals, every 3 months. Continuing abstinence from the family members and urine screening should be confirming the abstinence from the family members should be before giving this naltrexone. The Cochrane Library, the studies shows that oral naltrexone maintenance in the treatment of opioid dependence. The random controlled trials with focus on the use of naltrexone maintenance treatment versus placebo and other treatments to reach the sustained abstinence from opioid drugs were included. In 13 studies, in which 1,058 the participants who met the criteria for the inclusion, and comparing the naltrexone versus placebo or non-pharmacological treatments. But there is no statistical significant difference were noted. All primary outcomes are concerned. Various detoxification protocols were used in the combination with naltrexone. There is rapid detoxification measures in which naltrexone along with clonidine and adjuvant medications allows the patient to be completely opioid free from the first day of the treatment to have a complete detoxification within 48 to 72 hours, or removes the need for unprotected days in 7 to 10 days opioid free state prior starting dose. Due to risk of withdrawal symptoms, best used in patients with low level of physiological dependence to opioids. So, ultra rapid detoxification is not required at all, but in case it is required in inpatient detoxification, it should be given under light sedation or general anesthesia. It requires mechanical ventilation, followed by detoxification using the full dose of naltrexone. Because it involves increasing the life-threatening adverse events, hence it is not recommended. The naltrexone initiation drug detoxification and the rapid naltrexone induction procedure in the Columbia Rapid Naltrexone Protocol, in which the buprenorphine is given for the first 3 days, and the naltrexone was started with the low doses with 3 milligrams, 6 milligrams, 25 milligrams. At the 7th day, usually at 50 milligrams or intramuscular injection of 380 milligrams. And the supportive medications along with to reduce this, because the withdrawal symptoms, the clonidine, the clonazepam, or ranitidine, zolpidem, other supportive treatment may be required in this. The program earlier described, it is short-acting narcotics for at least 5 to 7 days. For longer-acting opiates, it needs 10 days or more. Abstinence is required. And in the similar way, the abstinence is verified with the urine testing or with the family members. If there is a question in the continued opioid use, opioid-free status should be confirmed by negative symptoms response by IM naloxone. A substantial opioid withdrawal symptoms may do emerge. The initiation naltrexone should be delayed by at least 1 additional day if you are in a doubtful cases. The major advantages and disadvantages is no tolerance or withdrawal. It is not a scheduled drug. There is no abuse potential. Only disadvantage is The abstinence requires is 5 to 7 days. Retention and compliance issues are there. The sensitivity to overdoses may arise. The coming to the next important addiction, the use alcohol disorders. In 1990s, 2 double-blind placebo-controlled trials on oral naltrexone, in which the patient, when compared to the placebo, they're more likely to remain abstinent, and compared to 54% in response to 31%. The experience of few days of drinking, 3.1 to 7.5, and the lowered rates of relapse to heavy drinking in the placebo-controlled trials. The similar studies were combined study is a large multicentric trial in USA, in which the drug is the combined pharmacotherapy in the reported the largest studies controlled for opioid dependence, evaluated in the treatment response to the novel medication and psychological treatment combination with 1,383 patients of alcohol dependent who are seeking treatment from the 11 sites. The patients were randomly assigned the 4 months to placebo pills and 1 or 2 medications given in the combination as 3 grams of acamprosate and 100 milligrams of naltrexone. The result of naltrexone when given along with the medical management was more effective than placebo and increasing percentage days of abstinence and reducing the heavy drinking days. It is a US study. The same study was done in 2012, the PREDICT study, but the same results were not replicated in, it was study conducted in the Germany. The same results were not replicated in this study. The efficacy of naltrexone may be more pronounced if the following the condition, particularly is effective in the male smokers with antisocial traits and high levels of craving and a positive family history of alcoholism and the genetic carriers like ASP40 and mu receptors of ORPM1 when used to control the progression to heavier drinking behavior without a goal of abstinence on the days of when the drinking is, it may be, I think it is, sorry. It may be useful on the days when the drinking is anticipated. ER preparations, injectable preparation 380 milligrams and 190 versus placebo are given. Both preparations are well tolerated, but 380 milligrams of injectable preparations gives more effective in cases of prolonged abstinence and reduced drinking days, reduced heavy drinking days by 25%. And a comparative study of the safety and efficacy of the naltrexone versus baclofen versus acamprosate in the management of alcohol dependence. It is a prospective study in the Indian Journal of Psychiatry, comprised 30 alcohol dependent patients, each assigned to naltrexone, baclofen, and acamprosate group after detoxification assessed for craving and relapse and the medication adherence. In terms of obsessive drinking scale, the score is declined in the group of naltrexone was maximum. In terms of decreasing the advanced warning of relapse, aware, the questionnaire score, in this also the naltrexone was shown more effectiveness. And compared to coming to the cocaine use disorders, the preclinical study shows greater effect of cocaine induced to the self-administration of with naltrexone, where the similar results were with the clinical studies with naltrexone is modestly effective and combined with relapse prevention is more effective than the comorbid. In compared to comorbid cocaine and alcohol dependence, found no benefit of naltrexone in reducing the cocaine use in compared to where the disulfiram shows the superior. The evidence does not justify the recommendation of naltrexone in cocaine dependence. But some other studies shows that a 12-week double-blind placebo-controlled trial and randomized control studies, the naltrexone with replacement therapy, relapse prevention, and versus naltrexone versus the counseling days and placebo versus relapse prevention. It means low relapse rate with naltrexone was found. And similar studies, a 12-week double-blind placebo-controlled study was conducted. The higher percentage of negative urine toxicology with the naltrexone when compared with the placebo. Coming to the nicotine use disorders, naltrexone is, along with the augmentation strategy of NRT, nicotine replacement therapy, in 2 randomized controlled trials, and 100 milligrams of naltrexone with 21 milligrams. According to one study, the naltrexone treated subject experienced a significant reduction in the daily cigarettes when compared with the placebo, and the reduction of smoking urge will be reduced, and naltrexone is associated with the increased incidence of the mild symptoms like nausea, dizziness, sedation will be noted when compared with the placebo. The effect of naltrexone on smoking cessation and outcome of weight gain in nicotine-dependent men and women. The study done by King et al. The study shows the improves the quit rates, the increase the time for first cigarettes, and the reduces the cigarette smoke, and the smoking urge is also reduced. It lessens the amount of weight gain when compared to the previous. Once discontinued, smoking quit rate benefit was no longer present at follow-up. Men showed greater improvement in quit rates and reduction in smoking. Women showed more lessening in weight gain. The weight gain is common during smoking cessation. More salient issue for women smokers give their body dissatisfaction, concerns about their gaining weight with cessation. This is more useful than naltrexone in women. Why men are less sensitive than women on the effect of naltrexone on weight gain? Maybe the sex differences maybe in the opiate reward pathways maybe have a slight role. The naltrexone may have a clinical utility as adjunct treatment for smokers who are concerned about the weight gain in the following smoking cessation. Usually, the endogenous opioids increase the food intake, whereas the opiate antagonists decrease the food intake. In bulimia nervosa, a handful small samples controlled clinical trials have been conducted with some, but not all, reporting the reductions in the binge symptomatology. The FDA recently approves the combination of naltrexone along with bupropion and the extended release formulation in the treatment of obesity. Naltrexone and bupropion has already shown it is achieved a 5% reduction in the total body weight. The reduction when compared to the body baseline weight in the naltrexone and bupropion had significantly beneficial effect on the other cardiovascular risk factors. But it needs a rigorous post-marketing surveillance is required for continuation of the study. In coming to the eating disorders and obesity, then altered endogenous opioid activities, the naltrexone alone is failed to produce clinically significant weight loss, but combination with NB32 and NB16, that is naltrexone with bupropion SR 360 is more effective than NB16. Coming to the important self-injurious behavior are present in the autistic child and mental retardation. The larger studies using more rigorous experimental designs have failed to replicate the system, but utility for the symptoms are not established. But some are useful studies shows that there is a reduction. The Cochrane studies the pharmacological intervention of self-injurious behavior in the adults with intellectual disabilities. The 4 trials are compared with the effects of naltrexone versus placebo, and 1 trial is compared with the clomipirone versus placebo. The naltrexone versus placebo trial reported the naltrexone has clinically significant effects the reduction of daily rates of the severity of self-injurious behavior. Another trial has reported that naltrexone is attenuated the self-injurious behavior in all 4 participants with 25 milligrams and 50 milligrams dose producing satisfactory significant decrease in their behavior. Another trial of 8 people indicated naltrexone administration was associated with significant fewer days of high frequency self-injuries and significant more days with low frequency of self-injury. The naltrexone had different effects and depending on the form and location of the self-injury. And coming to the important indication, the pathological gambling, in which naltrexone decreased the dopamine release in the nucleus accumbens through the disinhibition of GABAergic input to dopamine neurons in the ventral tegmental area. 2 open-label case series, a moderately sized placebo-controlled and randomized double-blind study reported the efficacy of naltrexone in short-term treatment of pathological gambling. 2 open-label cases series and randomized controls support the efficacy of 250 milligrams dose of naltrexone in the short-term treatment of pathological gambling is more effective. Useful in higher doses only in general, but should be careful about the liver function test. In the concurrent usage of NSAID, the risk of LFT is increased. Doses of 50, 100 and 150 may be demonstrated with equal efficacy, but higher doses are more effective in pathological gambling. This gambling disorders, the targeted with placebo and controlled studies. PGY-Box naltrexone treated subjects with a significant improvement starting after 6 weeks. The subjects receiving naltrexone also did significantly better on the GSS scale. The p-value is less, and the Sheehan disability scale shows the naltrexone is effective.
The session is another 5 minutes.
Okay. This also is indicated in the kleptomania. The naltrexone is widely used, and it is also useful in various control studies in the trichotillomania. The pulling rate at the time was decreased. And the dosage forms are available are oral and extended release and implants and low dose naltrexone, which are widely used. The oral naltrexone is the score topic available in the 50 milligrams. Naltrexone is injectable form available in the suspension, need to be suspended. That suspension is injected in the gluteal muscle. Once a month is available in the dosage of 380 milligrams and 180 milligrams. The naltrexone implants are available. It is given in the lower intra-abdominal wall and subcutaneously with the plunger. Implant consists of 765 milligrams. It is useful for very good compliance and adherence. It is up to 6 months. No drug is needed. The mechanism, when compared to low dose naltrexone, is also widely used in the non-psychiatrics, indicates so many drugs because in the contrary, instead of eliciting a permanent opioid receptor blockade by standard dosing, the transient opioid receptor blockade, ensuing the low dose use upregulates the opioid signal. It's this modulating tool of the neuroendocrine and immune axis. Low dose naltrexone promotes the healing and inhibit the cell growth and reduces inflammation. As a result, it's very useful in various conditions like is glial modulator, toll-like receptors, immunomodulator. These mechanisms are very useful in the fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and complex pain syndromes. And the drugs are available in various add-on drugs. In multiple sclerosis is quite useful. In the various indications that are available in low dose naltrexone is the primary progressive multiple sclerosis, and various studies proves that naltrexone in the low dose is quite effective. In the fibromyalgia, the females with a lot of the spasticity is decreased and pain is decreased in this fibromyalgia cases of female. Whereas GIT cases, as I mentioned, is irritable bowel syndrome is quite effective. And Crohn's disease is very useful. And the cancer, and it's also because of immunomodulator mechanisms, it is useful. treated with the symptoms of improvement. Various dermatological conditions, arthritis, low backache, and associated with augmentation, various the summary of clinical experiences of the low dose naltrexone is quite useful in the peer-reviewed literature. The only adverse effect is hepatotoxicity. You should be careful and judicious in taking the dose. A six-fold higher dose with 300 milligrams potential when compared with routine drugs. It causes acute hepatitis or liver failure. So other general GIT symptoms, other headache, anorexia, other adverse effects. Injection site pain may be common with long-acting injections. Precautions: high dose opiates have risk of opioid withdrawal. Patients should be advised that taking large quantities of exogenous opiate to overcome the blockade provided by the opioid antagonism can be extremely dangerous. For an elective surgeries, the cessation of oral naltrexone prior to 74 days, 72 hours is required. Various drug interaction, NSAIDs, diazepam, antidepressant with the naltrexone interferes. In conclusion, the studies indicate that naltrexone is potentially effective and well tolerated. Naltrexone duration and the treatment retention outcomes are more. The oral naltrexone is not generally found to be improve the duration of abstinence, though helpful in assisting the induction. Safety outcomes were not found to be different among the treatment versus comparative groups. Guidelines generally recommended naltrexone if other treatments were contraindicated. The patient has demonstrated the sustained abstinence with naltrexone is proven. The naltrexone data strongly suggests a role for endogenous opioid across the addiction spectrum that should prompt the exploration of the anti-addiction potential and other system inductions. Thank you.
That completes the exhaustive and comprehensive presentation of various conditions in which naltrexone can be used, in which conditions they are approved and which conditions they are still found to have adequate number of studies, and it will be useful. There are one or two questions. This is from K. Sudharani. Recent literature not favoring deranged LFT with naltrexone. Any comment? I think you told
Yes,
liver.
Liver
But-
toxicity at the end.
Yeah, any abnormalities means we do not. I don't know to what extent abnormalities are it will cause contraindication for naltrexone.
The contraindication basically primarily there should be the drug-free opioid because withdrawal the things are there. Any concomitant use of comorbid conditions should be cared for where the liver is the primary metabolism here. So liver toxicity or acute hepatitis, the condition. It is chronic patient compared to acute opioid conditions. The chronic opioid conditions, the naltrexone is more useful. The liver status should be checked at frequent at baseline level and at frequent intervals to monitor the function.
Okay. And Dr. V. Sabita from Chennai. Can naltrexone be given for gaming or internet addiction? I think gaming you told
Pathological gaming is due to internet
What
addiction.
about internet addiction? Any
Yeah,
studies?
It is the various studies because the naltrexone has multiple indications and all addictions it suggests is because of its immune modulators. It blocks the gaming disorders also may be useful. I don't think the studies was not shown anywhere. The naltrexone maybe because of reinforcing effects can be blocked. So maybe it may be useful, but add-on drug can be useful along with the supportive therapies may be advised.
So any other questions from the audience? So I'll conclude the session and I'll give to the organizers for further continuation of our next session.
Thanks a lot, sir. I request Dr. Pawan sir, Fanikant sir, to give a memento to Shiv Prasad sir. Thank you, sir.